All right, we're going to start with the video. We're going to go over here and we're going to go to tracks, add new stereo track, and record. We're pretty happy with what's going on here, right? See, we're going to do that, or maybe like that, and maybe like that. See, there we go. Now when it drops the other way to bottom. Watch. Boom. All right, cool. That's great. All right. Tracks. We got that. Record. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, everybody.
Hey,
Yo,
How you guys doing?
doing great.
wonderful.
All right. So what we got here, I want to introduce my cast today. We got Noel to my right. He's badass.
Hello.
Yep.
You.
He's still badass. And then we got Corey to my left. Now my double right. Hey, Corey. All right. So we decided to do this. There's a lot of the stuff we do doesn't even actually get published, because at least it's fun. You know what I mean? But this one might be published. It might get published. I might put it out there. Who fucking knows? Anyways, I want to get back to what decided. Today we've been talking about some really good stuff. You know what I mean? And what I think inspired me to I shut down some information seeking earlier about DNA editing, CRISPR, and blindness, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a
conversation. Well, let's talk about DNA editing. We all know about DNA editing, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right now, I think they call it, CRISPR was pretty much the first standardized DNA editing tool. And
is this with stem cells?
Huh?
Is this like stem cell based?
No, this doesn't have to do with the stem cell argument. Stem cell argument.
I know some of it stems from stem cells.
Damn. He's gonna go with that. And no, that's pretty good. He's pretty good.
I don't know. It seemed good.
No, do not doubt it. Do not doubt yourself. We're not there yet to doubt. We have to still keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, stem cells is more for like say you have you can't walk, okay? And you have you need more than just a DNA edit. Okay? Like walking is not because of a DNA issue. It's because of something happened to a part of your body that needs to be repaired. And what stem cells is used for is repairing unrepairable body parts, because as you get older, the reason why they used to prefer younger stem cells is it's just kind of like more of a clean slate. So what you can do with stem cells is you can just like with DNA editing, when you're having them programmed to do something with, and I am not a scientist, and I am not like some type of professional on this, and I would be glad.
Tell me.
Yeah, I would be glad to hear anyone tell me how much I'm wrong, and I would love to be corrected. But from my understanding, stem cells is more about taking a broken part, reprogramming a clean part to redo that part. Okay. Now, I didn't do enough research on stem cells to have that conversation. But we're gonna pivot.
I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay, cool. But let's go back to CRISPR. Okay, so CRISPR is
you're gonna have to fill me in because I don't know what CRISPR is.
CRISPR stands for something. Let's pull that up real quick.
Is it like a community of?
No, it stands for the technique of how it works. It's what is it? CRISPR. I'll tell you if you go on Robinhood or whatever your choice is, Webull, to do your day trading as you work. The CRISPR stock has been very successful over the last few years. I believe it's up to maybe 150 now. I could be wrong, and anyways, great stock. I'd say it's a good buy. Now, CRISPR this is the definition that I'm getting. CRISPR is a family of DNA sequences found in the genomes of prokaryotic organisms such as bacteria and archaea. These
Cryonic?
no, and these sequences are derived from DNA fragments of bacterial phages that had phages. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
They
they're
get infect a cell.
Yeah, they're like
They look like a little drill.
Yeah, they're like you know.
So in essence, they're just trying to fix the DNA is wrong. They're gonna get in there and fix it up.
That's correct. CRISPR. All right, so let's do the basic overview that from what I know and understand. But basically, you have a bacteria that you program to infect a specific part of the body, and you inject it into that part of the body, and what it does is it more or less takes the program that it's in its body, infects the DNA sequence, and then that DNA sequence is then basically, in a sense, like it's zeros and ones. So it's either turned on and off. So in some cases, some people just get a shit end of the stick, and they're born blind.
But couldn't somebody play Hitler with it?
Well, okay, so it's just like a nuclear weapon. It's just like a knife. It's just like anything. It has to be wielded properly. So
because if you can activate a DNA sequence, you can surely deactivate.
What he's proposing is the reason why up until this point they have not allowed it. Okay. It hasn't been allowed. That's why I was saying like basically the importance of this moment, because up until this point in the United States, it hasn't been allowed to do DNA editing. Okay, we're not allowed to do stem cell research unless it's adult stem cells, and we're not allowed to do DNA editing. Okay, now because we still don't know enough information, and just like you said, it's kind of like you can wield a lot of effects that we're not aware of the repercussions of. Okay, it's a new science. And
people call it playing God.
I mean, but it's exciting though, because if we can change somebody's bad habit into something great,
right?
Like laziness or
there's a lot
alcoholism,
of right? Right. Like the capabilities are endless, but we as a society, like America, even at our worst times, we're still the example for the world, right? Man, yeah. So like in that regard, as much as we don't always realize our importance and sometimes over realize our importance, we are delicate when it comes to okaying things. You know what I mean? Like some countries have okayed this. Some countries have okayed a lot of different things. America has one of the best FDAs in the world. And we also have, like, when it comes to beef, we never had mad cow in America, okay? They still have mad cow in England. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. That's entirely true.
Okay, well, that's fine for you to say.
What about designer babies? I feel like that's a very American thing to do.
Oh, yeah, but
I'm like, that would probably be way more marketable before fixing.
Let's slow down here, guys. So CRISPR is the first version. It's like AOL 1.0. It's not good. Okay, like that's one of the reasons also why we're not using CRISPR as we can buy CRISPR stuff right now. There is on Amazon, you can buy CRISPR kits that do it yourself. I've
heard about that.
And there's a whole amateur market of people that are like, because there are things we do know, but it's CRISPR's AOL 1.0. Let's put it that way. So like, when it does its work, when it does its DNA editing, it's like taking a hammer, bro. It's not a scalpel. Okay. So like
beta test.
So anyways, right. So like you have this back to this amateur market, right? So there's this amateur market of people, they're doing videos where they're like shoving needles into their arm and because there's one of the ones they've been able to isolate is a like a muscle growing DNA. So like this guy is basically shooting it into his arm to show the world that he's going to grow, possibly muscle. Keep in mind, no one's done these things. There's no facts on any of it. That's why they're allowing this guy to do it. And And
what
like
is he showing the
Well, it's
world
exciting though.
so far?
it is.
Exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So like here's the other thing too, and right now they okayed it. Let's go back to the point. They okayed blind specific blindness treatment, or a specific type of blindness is being treated in experimental phase right now. And it's the first time in America's history that we're doing this, and it has a 78% effective rate. So these people that were born blind, 78% of them now can see again. And that's actually what's sparked this possible podcast, which I'm proud of you guys for doing. I mean, you know, like I don't know if the world knows.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
really have much of a
doing
world.
this for you, Aaron.
Yeah,
You know, I hope you know that.
I do.
Especially
I do.
Noel.
Yeah,
He's really
yeah.
give it-
But you know what? He's amazing. Like we did one of my first early podcasts was Noel. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it was
he was.
and he was
I remember those
he was
days,
phenomenal.
You know,
but
just,
I had to show him off. I had to show that off because
it was just all
love
talk back then. There wasn't even equipment. Nothing. Just imagination.
Yeah, it all starts with a dream.
Yeah. Look at this.
Look at us now.
Still barely there.
Yeah.
I keep buying stuff, and I'm like, I'm there yet? You know, like,
Yep.
no one. And the more stuff I got, the less people want to play with me. They're almost like, Aaron, that's intimidating. Now it looks professional. I'm not professional. I'm like, damn it. I wish I like stayed in that amateur phase where, you know, like I could get everyone to be like, you know what? Look at you. You got nothing going on. That's the guy. That's the guy you'll hang out with. You know.
What do you guys want to talk into?
Yeah, like,
Porsches?
you gonna play basketball. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to play with the superstar, you know, because
Yeah.
you get your ass whooped, you know.
That's the shitty part of being successful and happy.
So stop being a superstar.
How dare you show me
dare
how
you.
happy you are and show me how easy it looks sometimes. It makes me question every decision I've ever made. How dare you make me feel jealous of you and remind me of all the decisions I wish I had made and the reasons why I hate myself to this day. Sorry. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Yeah, that's totally a thing.
Dark, sorry.
Yes. I'm saying my darkness is what I enjoy. I think it's hilarious. Like, you know, one of my favorite movies is Train Spotting. You know, I don't know if you guys seen that one.
Oh yeah, it's
That's a
great,
great,
yeah.
if you want to like not
dark.
do heroin,
Yeah.
please, like that's a great
Or if you
film.
wanna
If
do
you want to do heroin,
heroin,
you
yeah.
could go either way.
Yeah,
It's just very
That's
educational.
inspiring.
It's very educational. I did like a bunch of the songs. The soundtrack was fucking phenomenal. Anyways, totally getting back off topic, but let's go back to this CRISPR. So CRISPR is the early mod. They do have a new one. They do have like an AOL 2.0. I wish I had done some research before sitting down with this, but this is where we're at, guys. Everyone who's listening, we're actually going to start doing research.
Yeah.
We're even going to label the episodes. Like this one might not get labeled because it might not get produced. But I think I want to put this out. I like it.
Yeah, you could always just come back and
I like
correct
stuff
yourself
though. Yeah.
if
Well,
you're
it's all about
wrong.
just deleting
Once
it,
you
right?
do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just delete it later.
Yeah.
But because I want some sort of official. There was nothing official about this. But you guys, you know, you're pretty official for me.
Hey, man, well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. So times are good. We're out of this COVID. Let's talk about that, huh? That's not very fucking fun to talk about.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear about COVID.
Yeah.
What? Actually, you know what?
Hear about
All
it
right,
whether you
know
like
what?
it or
Yeah,
not.
you're gonna hear about it. All right, you know what? Actually, let's talk about it for a second. I want to ask you two guys, what kept you sane during the early parts of COVID when no one knew what to do?
I laughed because I'm like, oh wow, everybody's freaking out. I'm like, I've been living this life for like a couple of years now.
Well,
so
be more specific for me, Corey. What kind of life are you?
I mean, I just had a kid, and I was
What, like
completely
staying home? Or
yeah,
like,
stay at home, and and
you were already.
I was working, and then I got injured at work.
So you were, yeah.
And
So
the
you were already
job
there.
Got shut down anyways,
Right.
And it was just
So you were already
nothing
doing it
new to
before I
me.
was doing it. So
Yeah.
it's almost like, oh, you're just adding time to my already
Yeah.
existing reality.
I'm like, great, yeah, like I thought this was would be short term, but think again.
Well, but I guess like what I really mean is like that's a mentality that you had. But I'm saying like physically, what did you do? Like, did you watch things? Did you play? What did you do to keep your like sanity on a Obviously, you had the dad stuff.
I mean, for me personally, a lot of people are not comfortable being alone. with
Oh, okay.
themselves.
You just
and
never had a problem with it,
I'm
and so
okay
you already,
with it.
so
And
you already had
I've
everything.
always had outlets, you know.
So your outlets were just being
Yeah, I
utilized.
will find things.
Yeah, good for you.
I got a
All right,
guitar.
I'm gonna.
You know,
And
a
you played.
shitty Casio keyboard. I'll
Yeah, you
find,
basically just
I'll
like.
put it. I'll let it out somewhere.
If anything, you almost probably like utilized it even more than.
Yeah.
Than
No,
you,
yeah. It forced me to be a better
even,
person.
yeah.
Even more better.
That's awesome.
I'll make this work.
Good for you, Corey.
Yeah.
What about you, Noel?
Well, it was challenging because it's like I'm a server at a restaurant, and everybody always wants to tell me their story. And it's like you're either pro or you're not. Mask, or you're pro Republican, or you're pro Trump.
It
That's
really
what got
is.
me
And
the
I'm like-
most.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
annoying.
You know, I'm just a server. I'm not your psychologist. I'm like, I can't tell you that I hate Trump or love Trump, but like, I will tell you to respect the rules.
Right.
Because,
Yeah, because I'm like, that's all it is. I'm like, you want to sit in here and eat sushi right now? Like, it is what it is.
And I'm like, you know what? I have my own opinions, and I do not want to wear a mask. But at the end of the day, you can't argue science, right? So it's like, what do? You know what I'm saying, with these customers that are like so hateful towards one side or the other.
You almost
But
gotta
that's
like.
the idea of it, if you ask me, because I'm like, this is what people do. Like, you divide and conquer. This
Yeah.
is what happened, and it's like a new
yeah,
way.
be neutralist.
The invisible enemy. They were labeling it that.
Oh, that sucks. Well,
And there's a way to pit people against each other, and that makes me think, like, what are you guys up
can
to?
I say though, from a psychological perspective? All right, I don't even know why I'm gonna label it this, but I would say over the years of dealing with difficult people, one of the things I forget a lot, but I notice when someone really cares about me, they do a great job to me doing it. But like, say you're like, fuck this, and like something that's been like really annoying, or something that's just even, you like go into these rants of some historical effect that you still are not physically allowing yourself to let go. It could be 2 years, 10 years ago, and you're like in this like mindset where you're like, God, I hate that moment. I'm so mad that right now I'm in that moment again. All right. Well, the best thing someone could do that really loves you is they change the subject. Hey, look it over there. and you know, hey, do you remember trees? You ever see trees before and you're like, wow, trees are cool. And all of a sudden you're not thinking about that moment. And that moment subsides. Now, when you are dealing with psychopaths or people with like a lot of like psychological issues, they need that all the time. They need to constantly be reminded. My point is like, I don't know to remind myself of this, but like, I'll tell you, anyone that's in those rants, it's an emotional response, and it's not really, it's beyond, there's no like rationalization. You can't rationalize with emotional responses. They have to be guided through or released, or like,
what are you referring to exactly?
With me, it's as simple as
you're
like,
talking about the customers.
I'm talking about, yes, I'm sorry.
With the COVID?
Yes, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but I'm like, what I've realized is like, it exposes how much people need to be told what to do, because people can't think, and it's like they depend on the government
but
to
it
think
comes
for
out
them.
to it comes down to like, if you're a happy person, you're happy. Who gives a fuck?
And you're not going to be affected by it. He's right. What he's just saying is,
if you're miserable, you're miserable.
As you're miserable, you're going to find reasons.
And I hate to simplify like that. I hate to do that.
Right.
Because
all right.
so simplistic,
but we can't be so. Let's not blanket everything too much, because that kind of minimizes like being clear here. You know what I mean? Like, blanket statements don't help anyone. Okay.
And there's clear about any of
it. Well, there's and Corey, there's always going to be, there's these cycles, and I will talk about them for the rest of my life. But you have 10-year cycles, 20-year cycles, 100-year cycles. Fucking China, they're really good at these like huge cycles, which is America's like downfall, because we have 4-year and 8-year cycles based on our presidential election. So I mean, imagine what if you're president of the free world, and hopefully we can tone that down. But if you're president of the free world, you know, like, and it's all this pressure, in the next 4 to 8 years, can you plan the next 30? And you're like, all right. And
yeah.
But the thing is, you can't, because you got another president coming in, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, America is a short term, and that affects our economy, because you look at the way businesses are run.
What do they always say? You know, like the previous, I'm just left with the previous administration's bullshit, and it's always the same cycle.
Well, but again, you're still blanketing, because it's not always the same. There are caveats.
There are big picture things that are discussed you're not privy to.
No, what I will agree with is there is a lot of corporatocracy involved and in the big picture. Okay, yes. And I will say there's a chance that the presidents on some level are probably, like you're one of the things that you'll what is that show with Kevin?
It's Hollywood
Hold
for
on,
ugly people.
hold on. The show that who is the guy that got busted? He was the president on that Netflix show, and then he got busted like trying to molest like a boy at a fucking restaurant.
Oh, you're
Kevin,
talking,
Kevin, is it Kevin?
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
Spacey,
Kevin
yeah.
Spacey. All right, so he was on that show on Netflix where he was playing the president, and I really enjoyed that because I think it was a decent take on some of the nitty gritty techniques that are used at least on like on a basic level.
House of Cards.
Yes, House of Cards.
Yeah, it's so good.
And it was really good, and his wife really finished it off well, and I'm really glad they did that. And I enjoyed that show well, and that's my point. I think on some level you have to be somewhat of a narcissist to become a political figurehead.
Well, yeah, because
okay,
they're obsessed with
and
power.
and if you're a narcissist, you probably slipped up along the way, and you probably left a trail of shit, and you are not in a position. Most of your choices.
All of us humans have left a trail. Some bullshit.
Well,
right?
but now you're doing blanket statements because there actually is people that have lived a very pious life, Noel, and those people don't listen to them. All right, because they almost like are not relatable. So the people are like, "Fuck you." You smart guy that knows stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I like this guy. He's like me. He's an idiot. He fucks off. He likes fucking pizza. You know what I'm saying? I like this guy. I like pizza. You know what I mean? Like, you know what they said? People vote for the guy they can have a beer with. Did you know that? They started doing the study in the 2000s when George Bush Jr. won, and they're like, they just wanted to have a beer with him. And look at Miss Clinton. Nobody wanted to have a beer with her. And she brought fucking hot sauce to a fucking press event trying to get black people. I'm like, oh my God, you can't just break. I like hot sauce, but I've only seen one person carry hot sauce, and he was from Asia. He was an Asian, and he carried hot sauce, and it was awesome. And
this was black people do.
He was Cambodian, let's be honest, and he probably left Cambodia during the times where we were blowing him up, and we told the world that we weren't blowing him up, that whole thing. So,
but you don't take that as like shameful democratic tactics?
I think humans, just like I discussed earlier, we are born with sin, my friend. You think that there's never, even yourself, bro.
I mean, you can unconsciously or consciously.
There's no perfect, and it's almost like how do we learn to succeed? We fail a lot, and you're like, everyone's failing. Well, maybe we're about to start succeeding. I'm just saying, like on a bigger scale, man. Sometimes you really got to see some shit before people wake up. It's like the drug addict that has that wake up call, or that fucking you know what I mean, like that guy that just like you just are like sitting on the ground and the floor of
with the hot sauce though.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I'm like,
who told her that?
Yeah, I'm sure somebody. There was just a room full of people who nobody had the balls to say what everybody was thinking. I don't know how that happened.
Or people just love Trump at the time.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, there's if you look at the population of who voted, the thing is we're dealing with electoral system too, and that shit needs to go. I understand. I spent a lot of time trying to find out why it happened, and it had a good argument. You know what I mean? Like, so say you're those states that have nobody in it, and every year the president's elected by the populace, right? So if you're those states that doesn't have anyone, but you have completely different needs than San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in this, and it's like
big
government is
the
problem. Everybody.
Because of that reason. Nobodies though, and there are somebody.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why we have an electoral system.
Another state do not
but
make
basically
sense for them.
But the point is what you end up having is, so let's suppose we got rid of the electoral system, and I'm sure this will be something that is probably insightful for some, because not only people they want to get rid of it because they don't understand it. I totally understand wanting to get rid of something you don't understand. That totally makes sense. But the electoral system gives power to Idaho, so now Idaho is represented by a number instead of of this small number of voters. So like now, if you are a someone who wants to get elected, you want to go to that state because you want those points. You know, like if it was just population based, you only have to go to states with population, and that's fucked. And that's where it's like, I understand the middle of America's argument, because the majority of middle America, which produces most of our goods, and they're very upset about how they're treated from time to time because they just want to be left in their ways. I totally get it.
I think localized
That's why we have
government is way more important.
But and I agree with
large
localized
scale.
and important of those. That's why America exists. We are the only example. The only example you had similar of this was the USSR, but it was socialist, so it can't compare to we have the weirdest system in the entire world, and the world watches, and there's fucking fascinating, and that's cool. But again, the electoral system makes sense. It's the same thing with the fucking, what is that, the light, the daylight savings time, which is a weird thing, by the way. Every president like extends it a couple hours or a couple days every. Did you know that? Like, it gets like Bush, like there's like, just extend it for some. I don't know why. Anyways, and there's even like cities in certain states that just don't follow it legally. They don't have to follow it. You know what I'm saying? And that's funny. You know, they're like, fuck that. And
it's just strictly agricultural.
It is. Really. It is. But it
and
makes
like that time zone should just abide by those. You know, like,
but that affects the economics.
The overreaching of, I mean,
but Corey, a lot of these things started with like good intentions. It's like everything. The path to hell is paved with good intentions.
It's like you're making decisions based upon, like, within these confines.
It's never going to be 100% happy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bottom line, and that's what you got to realize. Like,
the big city is going to be like, I want it my way.
Yes,
and let it be that way.
And then, all right, so then there's another argument. You want me to bring this one up? They've actually debated separating the entire country into certain areas. I mean, even
the way Europe operates.
It works very well in Europe until they created the EU. And this is where,
based upon what model?
But this is, I don't know.
Well, they were talking.
It's pretty fucked up, actually. If you look at their governmental system, it's actually really fucked. It's
North
just
American unions, and they're going to happen eventually. But
of course, but
and they do make sense to a point.
But how did unions even come into consideration? It was trade pacts. Why did trade pacts happen? Well, it's like, I trade with this guy now, and I like him, and if someone attacks him, I'm going to help him out, and if someone attacks me, he's going to help me out. That's what creates a sense of stability. And right now, we are living in like one of the most stable moments in human history.
I agree with that, but there also needs to be. It's too rigid. Rigid.
But one thing begets the other.
Yeah, there needs to be. I guess it's a difficult balance to achieve.
All right, so right now,
it's like you only have one pie, right? Pizza pie, and you have a vegetarian, a vegan, and a meat lover in one room. What type of pizza pie do you order? You're not gonna get everybody to be happy always, so you just gotta roll your dices.
That's why I say you gave everybody their own little place. I'm like,
you can't do that. You can't do that. We together, we're united, and that's the way it is. Because as soon as we start dividing ourselves, like the fucking Russians and the Chinese want, they're fucking gonna fuck us. Okay, we need to stand strong. We need to stand with Nebraska, Kentucky. They need to stand with us and just follow the fucking goddamn rules. All right, whatever the fucking rules are.
You just gotta accept people.
Yeah, we ought to just love each other. Yeah. We're not gonna. It's not always gonna be loving and dovey and always green.
That's what I try to tell people, because there's a lot of like they pit like the powers to be. They pit everybody against each other.
Yeah, so it's like what's Biden gonna do?
Everything's so
but
black and white.
Yeah, at least he's trying. I give that to him.
All right, so we're hitting the 30-minute mark, and I'm thinking we should. I think we did a good job.
Hey man, love you both.
Yeah, bro, love you, man. Love you guys. I'm really proud of you.
That
was good. It was pretty good. We pretty much. I think people like this.
It was definitely not ideal.
All right, thank you.
But all right.
Should we sign off? All right, so this has been a podcast with Louise and Noel and Corey and Aaron.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Don't forget to stimulate that like button and subscribe. Is that what, how's it go?
Do that.